Whispers have long swirled around the king of late night. Some claim that before his death, Johnny Carson revealed a secret list, a handful of guests who were, in his words, hiding their true selves. It's a tale that has been in gossip circles for years. In truth, there's no verified record of Carson ever making such a confession. Yet the rumor touches on something undeniably real. The world behind his desk was one of charm, secrecy, and restraint. Many of Carson's most beloved guests lived under the heavy shadow of a society that demanded silence about who they really were. Decades later, history has spoken where they could not. Here are 7 of Johnny Carson's most memorable guests who, during their time on The Tonight Show, were not publicly out. Rock Hudson. Rock Hudson was one of Hollywood's most bankable leading men, the embodiment of the tall, dark, and handsome heartthrob. He appeared on Johnny Carson's show, including a 1982 episode as the picture of all-American masculinity. Behind that image, Hudson lived a double life, concealing his sexuality to protect his career. In the 1950s and 60s, studios went to great lengths to keep their stars' private lives secret. Hudson's agent even arranged dates with starlets to squelch rumors about his orientation. Those close to Hudson knew the truth. Friends and co-stars were aware that he was gay, but he dared not let the public know in that era. Revealing the truth would have meant professional ruin during Hollywood's golden age. By the 1980s, Hudson's health brought his secret into the open. In 1985, the actor stunned the world by announcing he had AIDS. While Hudson's brief statement did not explicitly say he was gay, he understood that the admission would make that all but clear. He became one of the first major celebrities to put a public face on the AIDS crisis. Only weeks after confirming his illness, Rock Hudson died in October 1985. His coming out was indirect, yet earth-shaking. It marked a turning point in public awareness of AIDS and underscored how much he had sacrificed to maintain his leading man image. Today, Hudson is remembered with great affection. His bravery in his final days helped humanize a disease and forced Hollywood to reckon with truths long kept in the shadows. Hudson's off-screen life was a melancholic counterpoint to the vibrant roles he played. Born Roy Harold Scherer Jr. on November 17, 1925 in Winnetka, Illinois, he grew up amid emotional hardship. His father left when he was young, and his stepfather's controlling behavior left psychological scars. After World War II service, he drifted into acting, discovered by agent Henry Wilson, who rechristened him Rock Hudson to evoke strength and rugged appeal. The persona fit perfectly with the studio system demand: heroic, virile, and unassailable. Films like Magnificent Obsession 1954 and All That Heaven Allows 1955 cemented his status. Yet every red carpet smile masked inner fear. The Hollywood machine demanded he play straight. Arranged dates, public endorsements of heterosexual romance, relentless maintenance of image, it all drained him. In June 1984, Hudson was diagnosed with AIDS. His announcement in 1985, the first major celebrity so identified, shocked a public still steeped in stigma. In one statement, he said, "I am not happy that I am sick. I am not happy that I have AIDS. But if that is helping others, I can at least know that my own misfortune has had some positive worth." His death on October 2, 1985, at age 59, became more than an ending. It became a catalyst. In death, Hudson's legacy shifted. From mythic leading man to human being, his life exposed the cost of hiding identity. His illness forced Hollywood and the wider world to face AIDS not as someone else's problem, but as a universal human crisis. He achieved an ironic freedom. By dying openly of a hidden disease, he freed many to talk about it. Liberace. Liberace dazzled Tonight Show audiences with his rhinestone suits, grand candelabra, and flashy piano performances. As one of the highest-paid entertainers of the 20th century, Liberace lived a life of spectacle. Yet never once in public did he admit he was gay. During his Carson appearances in the 1970s and 80s, The pianist kept up the act of being straight, often cracking light jokes but never saying anything real about his private life. In fact, Liberace strongly, even through lawsuits, denied being homosexual throughout his life. He famously sued a British tabloid in 1959 for suggesting he was gay, swearing under oath that he wasn't. Rumors kept going for years, and gossip columns often hinted at his lavender lifestyle. But Liberace denied it every single time. Off camera, the people close to him knew the truth. He had serious relationships with men, including a younger live-in boyfriend, Scott Thorson, in the early 1980s. Even when Thorson sued him in 1982, Liberace still claimed he was straight, because Liberace never publicly admitted he was gay. One account said, his image stayed confusing, filled with fake romances with women. In private, friends like Betty White even acted as his cover on public outings. It was only after Liberace's death in 1987 from an AIDS-related illness that people finally knew the truth. His story has since been told in books and the HBO movie Behind the Candelabra. Today, his name stands for both glitter and secrecy, a reminder of how far gay performers once had to go to hide who they really were. Behind all the sparkle, Liberace's life was lonely. He was born in Wisconsin in 1919 to a poor family and grew up during hard times. From a young age, he loved music and dreamed of being famous. But when fame came, it also came with rules. Back then, being openly gay could end your career overnight, so he built a safe image of a friendly bachelor who loved his mom and his fans. His huge fur coats, diamond-covered pianos, and fancy cars became part of that disguise. He turned his critics into jokes, often saying, "I cried all the way to the bank," whenever people made fun of him. But his private life was full of secrets. His relationship with Scott Thorson showed how hard it was for him to live honestly. When he got sick with AIDS in the mid-1980s, he tried to hide it, just like he hid everything else. When he died in 1987, the truth finally came out, and people saw him differently, not just as a performer, but as someone who suffered quietly. Tab Hunter. Tab Hunter was the blonde, blue-eyed matinee idol every teenage girl in 1950s America adored, and he too sat on Carson's couch, charming the audience without hinting at his private life. Hunter's boy-next-door image was so carefully managed that Warner Brothers arranged for him to be seen on dates with starlet Natalie Wood to squash any whispers about his sexuality. In truth, Tab Hunter was gay and lived in constant fear of exposure. As he later recounted, the Hollywood machine of the time was brutally inhospitable to gay entertainers. Hunter carried on secret romances with men including actor Anthony Perkins of Psycho fame, even as gossip columnists coyly wondered when he would settle down with a nice girl. A scandal sheet nearly outed him in the 1950s, reporting on a police raid at a pajama party attended by gay men, but Hunter survived that brush with infamy. By the time Tab Hunter appeared on The Tonight Show, he guested in the 1960s, he was a bit older, and the studio system's grip had loosened, but he still kept his secret. It wasn't until 2005 that Tab Hunter finally came out to the public, at age 74, in his autobiography, Tab Hunter Confidential. In that memoir, he opened with the line, "I hate labels," yet proceeded to confirm what many had long presumed. He was a gay man. Hunter explained he decided to tell his story on his own terms, preempting a rumored tell all by someone else. The revelation made headlines, as Hunter became one of the first golden-era Hollywood leading men to openly acknowledge his homosexuality later in life. Tab Hunter's late-in-life candor, followed by a documentary about him, won him a new generation of fans who saw in his story a graceful balance of Hollywood glamour and personal truth. When he passed away in 2018, tributes hailed him as a gay icon of a bygone era, a man who lived through the worst of Hollywood's closet and lived to tell the tale on his own terms. Hunter's early life and career arc give more insight into how the image was formed and why the secrecy cut so deep. Born Arthur Andrew Kelm in Manhattan on July 11, 1931, his parents divorced when he was young, and he was raised in California by his mother and maternal grandparents. As a teenager, he lied about his age to join the U.S. Coast Guard at 15, but was later discharged when discovered. A horseman and figure skater earlier on, his athletic build and good looks caught the attention of Agent Henry Wilson, who gave him his famous stage name, Tab Hunter. His breakout film was Battle Cry 1955 for Warner Brothers, which cemented his status as a leading man. The pop single Young Love 1957 topped the U.S. charts and added a musical dimension to his heartthrob status. But while audiences saw the charismatic star, behind the scenes, Hunter lived in a state of constant tension, fulfilling the studio's demands for a straight, romantic image while longing for personal authenticity. As he later recounted, relationships with men like Anthony Perkins and figure skater Ronnie Robertson were kept under strict cover. In the 1960s, his star began to fade, not because of lack of talent, but because the studio system changed and his image was less in demand. He starred in TV series like The Tab Hunter Show 1960-61, though it lasted only one season. Then, in the 1980s, he staged a kind of comeback with his bold cameo in director John Waters' cult film Polyester 1981, showing he could lean into subversive roles rather than hide from them. The turning point came in 2005 when his memoir, Tab Hunter Confidential, revealed his long-buried truth. The book became a bestseller and led to the 2015 documentary of the same name, which expanded on his life, his fear, his resilience, and his ultimate decision to speak. His partner, producer Alan Glazer, who had been with him for decades, played a supportive role in helping him tell his own story instead of letting someone else do it. Hunter's legacy is complex but powerful. He embodied Hollywood's golden age ideal while also becoming a symbol for gay people who lived in the closet for decades. After his death on July 8, 2018, 3 days before his 87th birthday, from a cardiac arrest related to a deep vein thrombosis, the tributes acknowledged both his on-screen charm and his off-screen struggle. His story reminds us that fame often came at the cost of silence, and that the bravest moment can be choosing when to speak your truth. Paul Lynde. Paul Lynde had America roaring with laughter through the 1960s and 70s, whether as the snickering Uncle Arthur on Bewitched or the center square wisecracker on Hollywood Squares. He brought his outrageous, campy persona to Johnny Carson's stage as well, famously in a 1976 appearance that showcased his razor-sharp wit. What Carson's audience didn't know, even if they might have suspected, was that Paul Lynde was a gay man, one who never officially came out during his lifetime. In fact, Lynde became known as the archetypal, confirmed bachelor comic whose humor often poked fun at his own closeted homosexuality. His sassy, flamboyant quips were filled with double entendres for those in the know, while flying over the heads of mainstream viewers. As one retrospective noted, Lynde's entire persona, the acid-tongued, fussy uncle type, was a subversive in joke, making gay humor palatable on 1970s television without ever saying the word. Behind the scenes, Paul Lynde's sexuality was an open secret in Hollywood. He had close male companions and frequented the gay social circles of the time, but the broader public only knew him as a quirky comedian. He sometimes lamented privately that being gay had cost him better roles, though his own demons, including struggles with alcohol, also played a part in his career limitations. Lynde died in 1982, never having made a public coming-out statement. In interviews, he dodged and deflected questions about marriage or relationships. It was a different time. Even being as obvious as Lynde was considered daring, and directly confirming he was gay was virtually unthinkable for a network TV star then. Today, Paul Lynde is remembered fondly as a pioneer of camp comedy. He occupies a unique cultural spot, the openly closeted gay celebrity. He made millions laugh while keeping one aspect of himself off limits, a fact that adds a layer of poignancy and, in hindsight, courage to his legacy. Lily Tomlin. Lily Tomlin became a household name through laughter, from her breakout characters on Laugh In to her witty stand-up and one-woman shows. She sat with Carson many times in the 1970s, cracking up the audience with no hint that, off-stage, she was a lesbian, quietly building a life with the woman she loved. In 1971, Tomlin met writer Jane Wagner, who would become her life partner and creative collaborator for decades. Yet Tomlin's public didn't know about Jane, not in the 70s, when an admission like that could have derailed her career. In 1975, Time magazine actually offered Lily Tomlin the cover if she would come out publicly, and she refused. Not because she was ashamed, but because she rejected being outed on someone else's terms. She simply continued her career without commenting on her private life. 2 years later, Tomlin did make the cover of Time, touted as the new queen of comedy on her own merits, with no mention of her sexuality. Johnny Carson, for his part, never pried into Tomlin's personal life on air. In fact, there's a famous Tonight Show exchange in which Carson carefully asked Tomlin if she'd ever want to have children, a coded way of acknowledging she wasn't following a traditional path, and Lily wittily deflected it. The studio audience fell silent, sensing the subtext, until Tomlin broke the tension with a joke. It was as close as she came to addressing the topic back then. Decades later, long after Carson's tenure, Lily Tomlin openly acknowledged her sexuality. She and Jane Wagner remained together all those years and finally married in 2013 after 42 years as a couple. In interviews, Tomlin has said she never regretted waiting. She wanted the focus on her work, and in the 70s, coming out might have overshadowed her comedy. Today, Lily Tomlin is celebrated not only as a trailblazing comic actress, but also as an LGBTQ icon who chose her own moment to speak her truth. Her journey reflects the delicate balance many entertainers of Carson's era had to strike, living authentically in private, while navigating very real career fears in public. Beyond the public persona and private precautions, Lily Tomlin's career deepened into terrain where comedy, activism, and culture collided. After her breakout role on Rowan and Martin's Laugh In between 1969 to 73, she expanded into stand-up, one-woman shows, films, and television with astonishing versatility. In 1977, she and longtime creative partner and life partner Jane Wagner launched the Broadway hit The Search for Signs of Intelligent Life in the Universe, a one-woman show written by Wagner that earned Tomlin the Tony Award for Best Actress in a Play. Wagner herself had earlier won a Peabody Award for the teleplay J.T. 1969, which first brought them together. Throughout the decades, Tomlin and Wagner blended life and art. Wagner crafted characters and scripts. Tomlin gave them voice. Their artistic collaboration strengthened Tomlin's resolve about her private life. When Time magazine offered her a cover in 1975 on condition she came out as lesbian, Tomlin refused, saying she wanted to be featured for her work, not her sexuality. Later, in December 2013, after over 4 decades together, Tomlin and Wagner married in a private ceremony. Their union was not just personal, it stood as a symbol of how far society and Hollywood had shifted. Billie Jean King. Billie Jean King wasn't a Hollywood celebrity. She was a sports hero, but she too chatted with Johnny Carson in the 1970s while keeping a personal secret. King was the world's top women's tennis player, a multiple Grand Slam champion, and a crusader for gender equality in sports. She was also, during those years, privately involved in a same-sex relationship, even as she remained married to her college sweetheart, Larry King, not the talk show host for appearances. In 1973, fresh off her Battle of the Sexes victory over Bobby Riggs, Billie Jean King sat on Carson's couch as an emblem of women's liberation. But the idea of an openly lesbian athlete was beyond mainstream imagination at the time. In fact, King would become the first prominent female athlete to publicly acknowledge being gay, but only under duress. In 1981, her ex-partner Marilyn Barnett filed a palimony lawsuit that outed their long affair, forcing Billie Jean King to confront the issue in a press conference. On May 1, 1981, King spoke openly about the relationship, making history in the process. "I did have an affair with Marilyn," she admitted, becoming the first active sportswoman to come out publicly in that way. The fallout was swift and harsh. King's courageous honesty cost her dearly in the short term. Within 24 hours, she lost all her endorsement deals, an estimated $2 million worth of sponsorships. It was a stark reminder of how controversial homosexuality remained in 1981. Yet, she also garnered widespread respect for her integrity. Many in the press and public praised her honesty and bravery, and her fellow tennis players stood by her. Carson, who had famously joked around with King on lighter matters, never publicly commented on this turn of events. But the difference between her jovial Tonight Show appearances and the intense 1981 press conference illustrated the changing times. Billie Jean King continued her tennis career and, in the long run, became an icon of both sports and LGBTQ activism. She divorced her husband in 1987 and later found lasting love with partner Ilana Kloss. Now lauded as a pioneer, Billie Jean King's journey from Tonight Show guest to forced outing to proud advocate shows the immense challenges faced by even the most successful individuals when societal acceptance lagged behind their truth. Beyond the headlines, King's impact on tennis and equality was profound and long-lasting. In 1968, she won her first Wimbledon singles title, and over her career collected 39 Grand Slam titles across singles, doubles, and mixed. She was not only the top athlete, but also the architect of change. In 1973, she helped found the Women's Tennis Association (WTA) after threatening to boycott tournaments when prize money was unequal. That same year, the U.S. Open became the first major tennis tournament to award equal prize money to women and men. Her victory in the Battle of the Sexes against Bobby Riggs was watched by an estimated 50 million people worldwide and became a cultural touchpoint for gender equality in sports. Off-court, King founded the Women's Sports Foundation in 1974 and later the Billie Jean King Leadership Initiative, both focused on giving girls and women access to sport, education, and opportunity regardless of gender or sexual orientation. After her outing and personal struggle, King did not retreat. Instead, she expanded her activism. She coached the U.S. Fed Cup team, helped women gain economic power in sport, and pressed for changes far beyond tennis. In 2006, the National Tennis Center at Flushing Meadows was renamed in her honor. In her personal life, she eventually married Ilana Kloss, a former tennis player, and the pair have been together for decades, an example of authenticity after years of concealment. King's statement that pressure is a privilege became an oft-quoted mantra, underscoring that the burdens she carried on and off the court were part of what made her legacy so powerful. Today, as she approaches 80, King continues to invest time and resources into women's sports globally, including hockey and women's soccer, showing that her fight for equality is still very alive. Her story reminds us that being a champion isn't just about winning matches. It can also be about breaking barriers, bearing the pain of secrecy, and then choosing to live your truth. Ellen DeGeneres. Ellen DeGeneres represents a bridge between the closeted past and a more open present. In 1986, a young Ellen appeared on The Tonight Show and achieved a historic milestone. After her witty stand-up set, Johnny Carson signaled her over for a chat, making her the first female comedian invited to the famous Carson couch on a debut appearance. It was a crowning moment in any comic's career, and it launched Ellen DeGeneres into stardom. At that time, of course, she did not breathe a word about being a lesbian. In fact, privately, she was already aware of her orientation. The tragic loss of a girlfriend in a 1980 car accident had deeply affected her, though she couldn't publicly acknowledge the relationship then. "I was not public about my sexuality in 1980, she later reflected. She didn't come out until 1997. On Carson's stage in '86, none of that was mentioned. Instead, she wowed America with a quirky phone call to God routine and her wholesome girl-next-door persona. Fast forward to 1997, and Ellen DeGeneres made headlines around the world by coming out publicly, both in real life and as her character on the sitcom Ellen. The revelation was a cultural watershed moment, yet it came at a professional cost. The sitcom was canceled a year later amid a conservative backlash, and Ellen faced a brief career downturn. Demonstrating the resilience and talent Carson had spotted in her, Ellen fought her way back. By the 2000s, she had her own hit daytime talk show, where she spoke openly about her life and even married actress Portia de Rossi. The same comedian who once had to hide who she was when Johnny Carson asked about her dating life became one of Hollywood's most famous openly gay personalities. In interviews, Ellen has acknowledged how far things have come, recalling that back in the 80s and early 90s, she'd refer to a partner as "my best friend." These days, she can say "wife" and get cheers. Her journey from that tentative Tonight Show debut to becoming a beacon of LGBTQ visibility highlights a dramatic evolution in the entertainment industry. And it all began on Johnny's stage, though he never knew the secret she was keeping then. The notion that Johnny Carson would name 7 guests who were secretly gay is, in the end, unsupported by any fact. It speaks more to our contemporary hunger for behind-the-scenes revelations than to Carson's actual style. In Johnny's era, outing someone on national television was simply not done. Indeed, many of the figures profiled above went to great lengths to avoid such discussions. Carson's Tonight Show, a product of its time, respected those boundaries with a wink and a nod. As we've seen, several of Johnny's most beloved guests carried private truths that only emerged much later, when society and they themselves were ready. The contrast between how these 7 individuals behaved during their Carson appearances, cautiously sidestepping personal topics or playing a role, and how openly they could live in later years is dramatic. It highlights the progress in acceptance and the personal bravery of each of these stars. Johnny Carson's legacy is that of a gracious host who made his guests feel at ease. He didn't name secret gay guests, but he welcomed many into America's living rooms, helping audiences adore the personalities, if not the whole persons. Today, celebrities routinely discuss their partners and identity on talk shows, a sign of how far we've come. The stories of Rock Hudson, Liberace, Tab Hunter, Paul Lynde, Lily Tomlin, Billie Jean King, and Ellen DeGeneres remind us of the real people behind the public images and the very human cost of hiding in plain sight. If you found this glimpse into the past meaningful, please take a moment to like this video, subscribe, and share your thoughts in the comments below.